The U.S. a few weeks ago offering a deal with Russia to bring WNBA star Brittney Griner back home. It's now been 5 months since she was detained in Russia on those drug charges. Now, she pleaded guilty 3 weeks ago, but now she faces 10 years behind bars. And yesterday came word of that proposed prisoner swap involving Griner and fellow prisoner Paul Whelan, a Marine, in exchange for a Russian arms dealer, Victor Bout, the so-called merchant of death. Deandra Moss is a friend of Brittney Griner's, and she joins us now. And Deandra, thanks for being with us. You're out on the West Coast this time. Have you been in touch with Griner or anybody in the family? And if so, how are they doing?
I haven't recently. I imagine that this time is just very anxious, and at least there's been some traction. There's been some headway potential that she could be coming home. I think everyone's excited and optimistic, but still very much on pins and needles about the whole situation, understandably so.
Dee, and I can call you that, and let the audience know that we've known each other for quite some time. What's it like for all of you guys who have played overseas in the WNBA and the different leagues to be on pins and needles right now waiting to hear from Russia? Because the U.S. announced that they were trying to get this prisoner swap yesterday. They say they haven't heard from Moscow yet.
It's like your heart is in your stomach, because you're hopeful, but you're scared. Because the thing is, you don't want this to go silent. You don't want to go into a situation where you're not hearing anything. So you're just really conflicted. That's the best word to explain it. You're conflicted because you want them to come home. You want Brittney to come home. Paul wants to come home. His family wants to come home. But at the same time, this is Russia. They could just go silent. You're dealing with Russia and the regime of Putin. Honestly, anything can happen. So it's just such a tense moment. You can't really think about anything else. It's hard to really focus on anything else whatsoever. It's impossible. It's an impossible task. So I know that the family that's exactly how they're feeling. They want this to just cross over to the next path and just waiting for that call that she's on the flight home. That's what they want so badly. And that's the only thing that's taking up their headspace at the moment.
When we watched your counterparts in the soccer league take to the field and the different pressures that they were under, even though they made a lot less money than their male counterparts, we found out exactly how tough they were. How tough are the women of the WNBA, your fellow players?
Incredibly tough. The things that women athletes have to go through in a man's world in terms of sports, salary, just equity. But these are incredibly resilient women. If you think about it, the WNBA and its players have been leading the way in every social cause there is. They are leaders at the forefront. They don't wait to see how the NBA will react or how MLB will react or NFL. They are leaders. So when I say these are a group of resilient women, because we've had to be all of our lives, right? Because this is the only way that we'll have a place in this world and to get our respect, right? So you're dealing with a group of very resilient women, but we are still human, and you don't want to just rest on that we'll just get through it and we're very resilient, we'll be fine. No. Take care of us and help Brittney to get home and take care of these women and give us the equity we deserve and the respect. That's all we want. But a very tough group of women in the WNBA period.
We now know that she was using cannabis for medicinal purposes because of pain. What type of pain I see you nodding your head. Tell me about it.
Ooh, Dell, let me tell you something. When you play year-round, a very demanding sport, including the travel. It's not like you're traveling, regionally. You're traveling globally across Europe. And first of all, we're running every day. Your joints hurt. It just hurts. Sometimes you can't even sleep. You're so tired you can't sleep. Okay, between the traveling, you're practicing because you have to stay sharp on your craft. And then when Brittney gets home in the summertime, she's in the WNBA. And then when that's finished, she has a couple weeks and she's back over in Russia. You never really have the opportunity to let your body come down, right? So this is what happens as women players, it's a year-round thing. So pain, chronic pain, is something that I can assure you most or all of us have dealt with. I've dealt with it. I've had 7 knee surgeries, 2 ACL reconstructions, and 5 in between. I've dealt with pain my entire career. It's something that you just start to live with, but you have to manage it, because when it gets out of control, you can't really perform. You're trying to fight through pain. That means I'm not focusing on my task at hand as a player, which is playing defense, scoring, etc., what my team needs of me. So that is something that, especially someone of Brittney's caliber and her schedule, she has to be in chronic pain just because of her schedule. She's been playing this way since college. Think about her career at Baylor. She hasn't had a rest. I doubt she's had a rest for more than 2 weeks in the last 10 or 12 years of her life. Think about that. Think about that. That's incredible.
She's 6'9". And when they take her back and forth to that Russian trial, she is in a cage, and she is literally bent over. As you see the images of her going back and forth inside the courtroom, is there something that you're seeing that we're not seeing that may give us a clue as to how she's doing physically?
I think she's just trying to get by. I know that she's not comfortable, but I remember we talked about this the last time. She's trying to stay strong for her family, because they're already worried. We're already worried. And she doesn't want people to worry more than what they already are. That's what Brittney's trying to do. And I can see that through her face. This is not enjoyable for her. This is not enjoyable. This is not a vacation. And this is not something anyone should ever have to experience. So that's what I see when I see these images. She's trying to remain strong, especially when she's in court and the cameras are out, because she doesn't want her family to worry.
The final question before I let you go. We always assume, because we're in the States, being gay is okay. It's not in Russia. Did you ever worry overseas about how these different countries would react to you differently than the way they react to people here in the States?
Oh, absolutely. Especially more some countries more than others, but definitely when, for example, I spent many times in Ukraine, a lot of times in Turkey, to where you have to just be careful. You know, it's not okay, and you have to just be wary about your surroundings and the people you choose to have in your circle. You know, because sometimes things like that, being gay, it impacts your livelihood. It impacts your work. You know, your team presidents and members get involved in your personal life, and now your livelihood is in danger in terms of how you make money in your contract situation. So you have to be very careful about that stuff, and in Russia especially. So it's a lot. Again, it's a lot of the things that we have dealt with, that we put up with in a way, because we enjoy the game and all the other side of it and the great things that basketball brings us. But those are one of the things in terms of being gay and not really being able to be free. That's something we could definitely live without. And you have to really be careful. And there were a couple of times I really was mindful about all of those things in my circle when it came to certain places that I played, especially in Turkey, primarily.
Well, Dee, thanks for speaking out, because we are now all watching and waiting, and I know it's even worse for you. Deandra Moss joining us now from the West Coast. Dee, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Del. You gotta take it easy.
You got it.